Have you as well. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pawan. Thank you everyone for joining and spending your time. Before I start, I would like to mention that it is more of interactive session than just a normal readout PPT. So we spend more time on question and answers so that we'll learn from each other. Whatever little experience I have, I'll share with my knowledge, and I will also learn from you all. Yeah, we can move to next. So in this 45 minutes webinar, I'll be covering mainly a summarized version of the GST revamp of the landscape, strategic role of a CFOs and CFO as a digital enabler, and risk management and litigation preparedness, governance, training, and cross-functional alignments. I'm audible to you all? You can just put yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, move to next slide. So the very first one is role of a finance leader in GST revamp strategy. What is the objective of this? It means the finance leaders has to be strategically aligned to the organization to take the benefits of the GST. It means what are the reforms as available in the GST law. We have to ensure that the organization has to take each and every benefit of that. And what are the opportunities? GST is evolved into a strategic lever for business optimization, requiring finance leaders to take a leadership role in optimizing tax structures, improving transparency, and aligning tax process with a broader business strategy. See here, earlier the taxes of VAT or in other TDS or something, just whatever we have been purchased on nothing, we have to pay VAT and due date and pay. We are not able to get any benefits in our things. But after GST is coming to picture, we have input credit where we can improve our cash flow, fund flows by taking a right input. And then we can also plan it in such a way our purchases, capital purchases, and your domestic purchases in better way so that you can get a more strategical fund utilizations. So here the finance leaders are no longer just a compliance enforcers. Earlier the finance leaders, including me, who was there 20 years before as a head of finance or department accounts head or something, we used to ensure that the tick mark on our checkbox, 7th is a TDS has paid or not. 15th, the 21st, whatever the date of the VAT return has paid or not. That way we used to comply it or not. But now the expectations are changed. Now the even organization expectations as a CFO is changing day by day. The role of CFO is not a data crunch. He is now becoming more of a strategic partner. And here we as finance leaders, how do we support business? How do we involve in our strategy? And how do we see GST is a part of our day-to-day activities where we can give more efficiency by using digitalization systems and involving more cross-functional alignments. Next, please. Yeah, the revamp landscape is what are the key developments? The first one is that new GST written formats is all now AI-based scrutiny. Earlier, it was till last year, last 2 years before the GST scrutinies were our manual. And we used to have a huge fights with the commissioners and other people saying that our inputs, we have taken input as per our records. They have different inputs, matching the inputs, reconciling it, and a team of audits has to sit in our office for 15 days, 20 days. Managing them is a difficult task. Now with the AI-based scrutiny, expansion of e-invoicing and tighter ITC rules, it is more easy that people want to take input. They can go to the GSTR portal, log in, and what are the inputs available. They can take that to simplify the audit basis. And also, what are the upcoming changes in the GST regime? It is more simplified formats as compared to the initial GST rollout time. What are the GSTR 2B, 3B we are having? Now it is completely changed a lot. And mandatory invoicing with the threshold reductions and input tax credit restrictions from the Rule 37A and 88. So the GST regime is now shifting towards automation and data intelligence. This will help basically the clients, that is the organizations as well as the government, so that they can plug the loopholes of the either input credit or tax avoidance by doing this with we can say it is transformation of technology and using now AI. Now everybody talks about AI. You can ask from school children to the CTO talks about AI. So this is artificial intelligence. But recently, I just given one webinar, even a live seminar where people ask me what is AI. I said AI is not artificial intelligence; it is actual intelligence of our human beings. It is now being putting into the systems. All AI is manned by person only. It is not so that somewhere it has come from moon. Our own human beings are design the systems, design the software, design the programs, and then using it. As we know, in the earlier days, we are not even having these Excel and other things. People used to have a rolling calculators with typing numbers and all those things. From that stage, we went to Lotus 123 and then Excel and then upgraded your PY tables and micro macro formulas and other things. Now with AI coming into picture, the role of finance teams is more attractive and it is more demanding because now they're expecting more analysis, more data, dashboards and compliances. We have to ensure all these things. Next, please. Yeah. Now, what is the strategic role of a CFO in a GST management perspective? Because as a CFO, the role is huge. If they are next to MD, I can say the role is even more than an MD, though he's not designated as CEO or managing director. He is the custodian of the organization. He is responsible for stakeholders. He is responsible for internal management. He is responsible for his team. He is responsible for his own board directors and governance and the government authorities. So his role is very a huge, highly risk-oriented role. So with the GST management, how he has to mitigate his one part of his role. Here, the productive planning, the GST insights to inform procurement and working capital decisions. As I said earlier in the procurement, we have to plan it in such a way that how do we utilize our working capital better way with a proper planning of your procurement or supply chain management, and then aligning with GST pricing, supply chain and expansion strategy. And then legal tools, this is use advantage rulings and tax memos to mitigate risk. With AI and other things, we can get down the huge past case studies and case laws and the what decisions they're given. If we use those things in our any of our ambiguity in our transactions, we can refer it to, we can avoid long-term litigations. And similarly, ITC life cycle optimization and mapping credit cycles to cash flow planning. This is what I said, the procurement planning. When you procurement planning means you can't buy everything in beginning of the financial year. You have to plan it as a quarterly basis. First quarter, what is it you need? Second quarter, what do you need? If you buy everything and pile up inventory, then you're down with your operations. Next, please.
Okay, guys, this is poll time. I have prepared a poll question for you based on your current slide. I have launched a poll on your screens. Strategic ITC planning helps in increasing tax liability, delaying vendor payments, minimizing working capital gaps, avoiding product returns. The poll on your screens, guys. Also, if you have any questions or if you want to ask anything to the speaker, you can type in a chat box. I can see Bijendra Pal also raised his hand. We'll surely take it up in the end of the webinar. Bijendra, if you have any questions, you can write it down somewhere or you can type it in the chat box. Or if you directly want to ask the question to the sir, we will allow that also. So please type your questions in the chat box, guys. Okay, I'll be closing the poll in another 5 seconds. Sir, you have any views on this, sir? On the poll answers?
Answered, very well. This is perfectly correct. Minimizing the working capital gaps, as I explained in the couple of minutes before. The ITC planning helps really a working capital. I mean, many companies in the past have seen in a couple of organizations and even in Tata's initial stage, we are not given much focus and we are not trusted with that proper team to support with other things. We thought it is an easy way to like earlier wisdom of sales tax or VAT. But later on, we realized and we have strengthened up with the technology driven people and technology driven systems to utilize this, and this is really helpful for the minimizing our working capital. We can save a lot of finance cost by utilizing our ITC properly.
Yes, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, what is the traditional tax manager versus modern finance leaders approach? The strategic planning as a part of pricing decisions is for the modern leader. Cash flow optimization, as we discussed just now, ITC life cycle management, and cross-border GST implications, that is in case of export of services, SEZ, LUT, and all those things. And then strategic ITC planning model, manpower procurement cycle to tax credit availability to minimize working capital gaps. So here, if including whatever the procurement, whether you require, see, but one bad habit of any manufacturing concerns, people are in manufacturing, maybe having experience. Production people, everything they need, whatever they asked yesterday, not even today. But unfortunately, if you believe that and go for it, being a finance people, we have to borrow huge sums, we have to pay interest, and also we have to pile up inventory. And after some time, if we don't utilize properly, it will become a non-moving. So we need to be very careful. This thing. That's the reason we have to have more discussions with internal people. We have to align with internal teams, and then understand what is that they need. That's where the entire meaning of the strategic ITC is coming. Next, please. So as a digital enabler for GST transformation, as I said, the automation is very much needed. For automation helps us in reconciliation. There are so many software tools, and to reduce errors, speed up processing, and AI and based reconciliation softwares. Many people are now developing bots, and they're also developing a lot of tools like WebSolve, and all those things are there. And ERP integration. Under GST, we have plugins in ESP, SAP, Oracle, and even Microsoft Dynamics 365, and all those softwares. They have that ASP tool to integrate, so that it will take data from the tables of our ERP, and then it will convert into the required formats and for decision-making purposes. And dashboards enable right-time vendor grading, rating, tracking, and tax planning purposes. That is basically for procurement function. Earlier procurement function is not so important for any organization. Now the procurement function has to play a vital role, because they are the spender for GST, and they have to give the inputs also. So the lesser the burden on the organization, the better the efficiency for the procurement. So here the real-time ITC tracking mechanism, we have to keep it, and compliance scoreboard for vendors, and predictive analysis on tax risks with the help of AI and other tools, we have to take it up. Next, please. Yeah.
Okay, audience, we have a case study from our internal teams. Our platform Flowtax helped reducing the one of the logistics firm by using the GST reconciliation feature. They were able to reduce the timing of their workforce from 10 days to 22 days. So one of my colleague, she's going to explain how exactly reconciliation works in a digital platforms. Diksha, you can start your presentation.
Thank you, Pawan. I'll share my screen now.
Yes, yes.
My screen is visible, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is our dashboard. I'm going to explain how to do GSTR 2 and 2B reconciliation step by step. First of all, we will go to data upload. Here we will have to upload purchase register.
Diksha, I think there is a lot of background noise. Can you check it out once?
Just a second. I'll change my place.
Okay, audience. Meanwhile, once she sort of the noise condition, I want to explain about the FlowTax platform. This is our dashboard, and we have multiple features over here to do your GST filing, reconciliation, the e-way bill, invoice generations, and IMS features. Now we are going to Ms. Diksha is going to show how exactly the reconciliation feature works. This feature you can't be able to do in the actual regular GST portal. This is the framework that we have built internally for inside the FlowTax. So this helped one of our logistics client to reduce their time instead of doing it manually in Excel sheets or the more traditional manual ways. Diksha, you can unmute and you can talk.
Now I'm audible, right?
Yeah.
So first you will have to click on data upload. There we will have to select CSV API upload. Then we have to select GSTR2. This is the purchase register format. We have given four options here. Our own web template. We provide ERP integration also. JSON template is also there, and some utility template is also there. With this template, you can update the purchase register and you can upload the file. If ERP integration is there, then uploading is not necessary. But if you are maintaining all the data on the web template, we'll have to upload it wherever it has been maintained. Then we'll have to click on import data. Once importing, we can see the summary in the tabular representation in here. Once purchase register is uploaded, then we'll go to GSTR and download. Then we'll have to select GSTR 2A, 2B. We have to select the GSTN number for which we want to do the reconciliation. So we will download the 2B report first. Let's say I'm selecting for the May month. Let's select the action type, CP sum. Then we are going to download it. And we can check the download status also. Once these two sheet is uploaded, then we will go to reconciliation. We'll choose GSTR2 versus 2B reconciliation. Then we will again choose this option, reconciliation. Here we will have to choose that particular GSTN which we have downloaded the written form. Again, we will have to select the period. We'll take action all wise, like we can do supplier wise also, but reconciliation, all the vendor supplier, we can do it cumulatively also. Then after clicking on view details, this kind of tabular representation will be there. Matched invoices, missing invoices in supplier data, mismatch invoices, missing invoices in my data, and whole invoices. You can take actions individually by clicking on this table. GSTIN and period will be automatically selected. Here you will be provided with all the list of the invoices. And this reconciliation basis upon invoice number, supplier GSTIN, invoice date, invoice value, taxable value. Here you can take action for all the invoices altogether, or you can just take action invoice wise also. So if you're clicking on this checkbox, you can take action for all the invoices together. But if you want to take action invoice wise, then here will be the list of invoices. So there you can click and then you can accept it, reset it, you can add comments also. You can download the CSV format as well. So you can take action tabular wise. Missing invoices also you can take the action. If something is missing in GSTR 2B, so you will be having the option to trigger the mail. So it will send a mail to the supplier who has not deposited the GST input against your GST. They will receive the mail that this particular customer has not received the input. Mismatch invoices, you can take action in here. So minor in changes also. For example, supplier has filed the GST 001, but you have input 01 in your data. So you can, for that also you can take action by seeing the list in mismatch invoices, and again you will have to update the purchase register so it will show in match invoices. Missing invoices in my data means it will be missing in your purchase register, and it will be reflecting in 2B. So you can either hold that invoice or you can claim it and do the entry. Whatever the action that you will be taking, it will be showing in the reconciliation status as a whole. How many invoices you have accepted, how many invoices you have modified, how many invoices you have rejected. Complete report it will be showing here. So hardly it will take 5 to 10 minutes, but less than 5 minutes this reconciliation. If you're taking the action individually, then it will take more than 5 minutes. But this all is a auto populated summary. You can take action conveniently here. Now the advantages of this reconciliation is it can ensure compliances timely, and it will maintain good health of the compliances, statutory compliances. It can help in avoiding penalties. It maximizes the chances of claiming eligible ITC. It improves the cash flow also. It will reduce the risk of GST liability. It improves financial accuracy because it has impact over cash flow, P&L, and tax provisioning. It also helps in evaluating tax risks, and faster closure and automation process makes it easier and convenient. That's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diksha. We have one of the question. I just want to clarify that someone, Rohan Bate, told they are using SuperTax, but SuperTax is a complete different platform. It's a financial platform, Rohan. It will give the overall financial suite which you can use for the GST purposes. But Flotex is a very convertible platform which you can integrate with your existing platforms as well. If you are using SAP or if you are using Oracle, if you are using any other ERP software, you can seamlessly integrate with the Flotex, and you can upload your data from your ERP solutions directly. SuperTax is a complete different one. It's a financial automation suite. So moving on to our presentation. Over to you, sir.
Now, another part is the risk management. As a CFO, the risk management role is also very vital, and many organizations, especially the listed companies, will have a huge responsibility of the risk management, and they have the risk managers and compliance managers under the company secretaries and CFOs. So, what are the checklist with reference to GST preparedness litigations? Is respond to DRC 01A and maintain audit trials, update SOPs and legal memos. These are required because this will help the teams to follow their regular activities without any deviation, without any errors. And of course, all these are required a continuous review mechanism. And litigation ready, be litigation ready with the document trials, audit logs, and ruling strategies. And GST scrutiny, DRC 01A notices, and audit trends has to be We have to keep it as a record for our these things when auditor comes. And this will be the proper documentation, and whatever the litigations happen, whatever the case studies, case laws we have, if we keep it all those with us available for the teams as a knowledge sharing, the GST team who's preparing for it regular basis, they can be use the transactions in such a way that they will not do any mistakes, because they'll get a clarity what type of transaction, where it has to go, what type of head it has to debit, or what type of whether capital nature or revenue nature, they can classify themselves easily. Instead of going for litigations, paying to advocates and running around to the years after years on the case, and then huge monies will be kept in under contingent liabilities. Questions will come from various stakeholders. To avoid all those, the initial checklist and initial reviews mechanism places a good preparedness for our legal documentation and litigation purposes. Next, please.
You can
Yeah.
continue with the slides.
Yeah, right. So there's a recent Delhi High Court ruling, which I thought I'll just keep you posted how the CFO can benefit to the organization with proper awareness. In this, the ITC denial for mismatch between GSTR 3B and 2A reversed due to CFO's document vendor communication trials and all those things. So he kept his perfect documentation in a very systematic method. When it goes to High Court and when the GST authorities filed a case with the High Court and they are not able to give reversal, then the CFO is argued and provided the entire documentation, and with a systematic communication with the vendors has proved to court saying that it is in favor of the organization. So organization got benefited with that. So for that, we need to have a good ratings, risk ratings of vendors. Everybody sells, we should not buy it, because we have to see the, especially this will be helpful on major purchases or recurring purchases. If you are not, your vendor is not a good rated vendor, then we will be in trouble because of him, because he will not file his GST returns properly, he will not upload his invoices, then we will not able to take our input credit. A lot of issues will come. A lot of sub agencies also working to give the vendor ratings, who will help us if we are not able to identify. The agencies will give you, the moment you give a list of vendors to him, they will identify whether they are perfect paymasters, whether they are compliant enough, are they meeting the day-to-day compliances and everything, are they good in tracking their own purchase requirements and supplying requirements, on-time supplies and other things. And similarly, internal tax audit tracker and annual GST health checkups we have to be taken up. Next, please. Yeah, as I said in the earlier, cross-functional team awareness is very much needed. GST is not just a cup of tea of a finance person. It is operational teams, HR teams, procurement teams, sales teams. Everybody is a cup of tea. It is. That's why we have to be involved, GST team, in every meetings, and also involve them on various discussions, business strategies, and things, so that they can help us in giving the right inputs. And also checklist we have to prepare for monthly governance, monthly audit purposes, and we have to prepare a good internal control SOPs. And we have to give a frequent training to the GST team who is under finance or under CFO on the latest updates, maybe quarterly once or half-yearly once, a half-a-day workshop or something, with a major focus on question and answers. Because when they do it, I'm telling you with a practical experience, when people in the GST down the line, when they work on day-to-day basis and accounting, they go by either whatever ERP, they go by entry system, whatever the invoice is coming left, right, center, pass the entries. Because of the tight schedule of reporting, tight schedule of closure of financial accounts, quarterly audits, quarterly monthly closures and other things. But if they are being pulled out of that and given a proper training for them, giving the updates, giving the latest knowledge, they are going to give you best results. And I have experienced this personally with my own teams. And driving cross-functional GST awareness, this has to be driven by the CFO and their team about the procurement, sales, HR, because they are least concerned. Sales always wants to sell. irrespective of whatever it is, lower price, higher price, they don't care about the compliance and other things. Similarly, procurement, they want to make on-time procurement. They are in a hurry to do that. Here, the HR role is coming. Why HR is coming here is employee reimbursements. To attract manpower, many companies to reduce their tax burdens and things. Of course, now with coming with every new tax regime, everything on ground is taxable. So their reimbursement system was there in the past. Even now, some companies are still doing it, but slowly they are coming it out. With the reimbursement system, there's a huge impact of GST involvement. If that is not being taken care, then when the GST team comes for audit, they know what are the heads to be focused on trial balance. They'll pick up those 5-6 heads, staff welfare, entertainment, marketing expenses, like that. They will pick up a couple of expenses heads. They will sit on that. They will get their quota of requirements, what they need to do. Also, it is building internal teams, like as I said, it is more on RCM tracking, HSN security and SSN accuracy. We have to maintain what exactly the product code belongs to, what type of HSN code, how it is going to reflect. We have to spend a couple of minutes extra, but if we do that time while making an entry, then the entire transaction will be fruitful. So here they have to maintain a proper quarterly updates, either in online portal or a physical meeting and updating them. That will be helpful to down the line GST teams. Next, please. Yeah, the major KPIs is our CFOs must lead GST as a strategic initiative. It is not just a compliance activity. Enhance and emphasize automation, visibility, and governance in all GST practices. For this, we need to keep a proper documentation. Whether it's a customer, whether it's a vendor, we have to keep all the documentations and give transparency. And litigation ready and proactive in managing ITC and vendor compliances. Like the tools like this are very helpful for your ITC management. And also the audit ready with documentation training. Audit, I mean, we cannot avoid certain things in our life. In a student life, we have to write an exam, right? We cannot avoid exam, and then we can say, I want to come back to go back to next higher classes. So that is a mandatory. So life itself is an exam. Similarly, for finance people, every day is an audit. We have so many audits we dive with that. In when I just give you my own example. In the early life of my marriage, people, when I say I have quarterly audit, I have statutory audit, I have internal audit, I have tax audit, I have sales tax authority audit. My family used to ask me, when you people prepare the accounts, every time you say audit, audit, audit. So the audit is part of our day-to-day activities. If we prepare for the audit with the right direction, with the right documentation, and with the proper training, I don't see it is a difficult task. We can easily communicate to the auditors by giving proper data and proper documentation. Next, please. Yeah. So that's
Okay,
just
audience.
from my side. Now I'll leave it to you for any questions.
Okay, audience, you can. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah. Okay, audience, you can type your questions in the chat box. Meanwhile, we will take some questions that we already received while audience are registering. I'll read it out for you. I'm a tax head, want to become CFO. What will be the step-by-step approach?
Very good question.
Yes, sir. You can answer it briefly, sir.
Yeah. It's like moving from functional head to company head type. See, taxation head to CFO, absolutely people are moving. There's this thing in one of my company in which I worked in past, Tata International. We used to have one taxation head. He's now the vertical CFO of one business vertical. But for that, what we need to do is, I will just quickly tell you what are the skill sets needed for a CFO moving from a taxation head. The very first one is we need to have the approach from reactive decision making to proactive strategic decision making. Taxation heads generally will have everything with I need only like this, otherwise no. Otherwise, case will come. I mean, it's a bandwidth. It's not their fault. It is a functional fault because unless they are ruthless, the efforts what they are putting will not be recognized by the government or by the departments or by the organization. So they have to first change their mindset from reactive discussions to proactive discussions. And then what are the areas they need to upskill? The major areas is they need to upskill is on the financial reporting area. That is IFRS, Ind AS, consolidation of accounts with joint ventures, subsidiaries, step down subsidiaries, associate companies, and preparation of budgets and monthly MIS and dashboards, management reports. And then they need to get a knowledge on treasury management, which is very, very vital, like cash flows, fund flow, fundraising, working capital management, and also if it is an exports and other things, treasury management with forex hedging and other things. And similarly, controlship, they have to make it from internal control, audit financial policies, cross-functional works. All these things, their skill sets has to be enhanced. And then they have to come with a strategic finance mindset. Because here what happening from the one small function of a finance, a taxation strategic it is. From taxation strategy to organization strategic finance, he has to move. For this, he has to involve in business planning, mergers and acquisitions, valuations, investor relations, and then our partners, vendors, and then our stakeholders, directors. There's huge involvement of CFO in across the functions and across the leadership and across the board. So these are the skill sets which he has to learn. If required, he has to undergo for training, and then he can prepare himself for the CFO. He is going to be the best person, I can tell you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. There is another question, sir. How does a CFO calendar looks like? I mean, I think they wanted to know what is day-to-day life in a day, what they do usually, that kind of.
Or day-to-day life. It's okay. It means
The actual question was, how does CFO calendar looks like?
oh, okay. See, earlier in the CFO, I'll just give you a few two lines comparison. The old traditional CFO to the new modern era of CFO. The old traditional CFO used to write down in a notebook or in a diary, like weekly, monthly targets, and quarterly targets, or write down in a whiteboard in his room. The moment you enter in cabin, you'll have whiteboard with tasks to complete like that. From that stage, with the technology moving into that, you have calendar updates. You have like Q1, you need to focus on annual budget, GST, audit planning, or ITC review. You can put it in your calendar with the alarms. So that 2 days, 3 days before you'll get your alarm, so that you can remind your teams in advance, ensure that you will not fail in that step. Similarly, for Q2, what you want to focus on transformation of digital finance or something, or Q3, your tax audits, or Q4, your preparation for your year-end audits and all those things. And also your roadmap you can do for your finance transition into technology transformation. You can do which quarter is ideal, because generally Q3 or Q2 will be the more ideal for implementation of new things. Q1 busy with your new year beginnings, also with the audit continuation of the Q4 audits. So like this, they can use the automated tools and AI help to calendarize their things, to get alarms, and so that they can prepare well for that.
Thank you, sir. There is another question. Do you think taxation heads should be the part of every strategic decision in CXO's office?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think in my one of my slides I mentioned that also they need to be in every meeting of CXO's meetings. If they participate in the meeting only, they can be able to help in a strategic point of view or strategic value addition, because they have to identify tax saving opportunities while participating in CXO discussions. And also they can have a mitigate on any legal cases and compliances issues. They can help in improving cash flow and fund flows. and that will give you a strategic liquidity position, or they can enhance stability of the organization by giving risk and reward issues. And also, if they are participating in the CXO meetings, they can help in some better supply chain structurize. They can structurize the supply chain in a better way so that they can optimize the procurement and other areas.
Okay, sir. There are some questions in our Q&A box also by
Okay.
Nidhi. If we were being transparent and well documented with the auditors and the professional relationship is good, do we still need to be absolutely ready for the litigation? I mean, isn't it applicable when there's been something suspicious or wrong in our conduct?
Yeah, two yes and no for this answer. First, no litigation if you are transparent in your litigation documentation and your explanation to the audit team, and with your data, whatever you've been data, you should have a handholding of the data. Just giving a data, instead of that, you should explain the data, what is there in that, what is it your idea in making the data, or you have to explain your business scenario very clearly to him. And with the transplantation documentation, you will not go for litigation, because the auditor is also a human being and we are also human beings. The way you explain the things to him with the proper documentation and transparency, he will appreciate, and he will come to with the conclusions saying that, okay, this is maybe wrong, but you need to do like this, you need to do like this, you may need to pay penalty or tax extra, whatever it is, which he can very well take up to the management saying that, yes, these are the fines, these are the maybe lack of knowledge or lack of experience or lack of our expertise in specific one particular area. We have not done this, so we can avoid future by paying this. So that is one we can do. At the same time, if your documentation is also with a bad intention you prepared and thinking that is a transparency, giving to him, which may lead to suspect the auditor, then he will say that we'll go for litigation. So here, the honesty and trustworthiness of the team is very much needed for finance. We call as integrity. Any finance person, even if he's not having knowledge, absolutely no problem. If he's having a positive attitude and high integrity, we can train them to CFO levels. That is very much needed.
Okay, thank you, sir. There is a question from anonymous attendee asking for checklist for GST audit documentation. We'll surely send you this.
Yeah, we can send
Mr.
it.
We will send you, or else we will post this as a post in our social media platforms. You can track our Flowtax page in LinkedIn as well for this. Also, there is another question, sir. What are the ideal qualities of a CFO should be?
Yeah. See, ideal quality of CFO. See, I have seen almost around 16 CFOs as my mentors in my life of around 39 years experience. So, except two people, I will not name any of 16 people, but except out of 16, two people are failed as a CFOs. I can say proudly saying this because they are arrogant and they are dictatorship type of attitudes. CFO is like a person who has to integrate within the organization and outside the organization with the regulators, with the board people, with the stakeholders, with the government authorities. So he has to be a polite. At the same time, he has to be a point-to-point person, stick to his rules and regulations. At the same time, he has to be more pro to business. He cannot say go by rule book and say I will not do this invoicing, I will not do this business to go because there's a problem in this. He has to find the way out to say how he has to do legally business properly. So it is like a very, very high end job and highly risk. If you say yes, there's one problem. If you say no, there's another problem. So you need to be very, very calculated, cautious in your decision making. The lesser you speak, the better.
Okay, so there is a question, another question. How do I identify the correct CFO as a mentor? It's like a follow-up question for this.
Yeah. See, how do you identify a CFO like a mentor? It is not necessarily a CFO need to be a mentor. Any senior colleague in finance who is approachable, who is accommodative, and who is first having a patience to hear your questions. He has to hear it from you. Even you all are maybe department heads or functional heads or organizational heads. I'm not sure exactly. But we being a senior people, how do we got seniority? Because we learn from our mistakes and we learn from our seniors or mentors learnings, right? We should allow our teams also. How do they learn? When they come with problem, we should not shout on them. We should not accept on them. We should allow them to first explain what is the problem, how they did, what is that, what is the reason cause behind that issues. And if the person is having that much of patience, and if he is hearing to the problems and is understandable, he can be treated as a mentor so that he can put you in right direction. Whatever you are doing, he will review it, he will check whether it's a right, wrong, then he'll give you a correct guidance.
What is the ideal way to maintain work-life balance as a CFO or COA role?
Working for 24 into 7.
Everyone is influenced by Narayan Moti, sir.
I retired 2 years before. I'm still working 18 hours a day almost. No,
So
that's
what is your view, sir?
it is definitely we need to have work-life balance. We need to put some cutoffs. Nothing is going to fall on the earth. I also initial days working for office up to 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, audits up to 3 o'clock, going home, take bath and come back at 4 o'clock to office again, start the audit, things like that. And later on realized what happens if I do one day extra. Nothing is going to fall. Only thing is we have to give a proper justification, explanation to the management, because management puts a lot of pressure on CFOs on various things. You name it with a sales flash report, you name it your cash flows, you name it your MIS dashboards, or board meetings. And funny thing is many companies fix the board meetings and gives pressure to CFOs for completing the audits. So in that circumstances, you need to be cut off. You have to put, say, whatever it comes, 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock my office. That's it. After 8 p.m., I will not be available for this thing unless until there's an extreme emergency. There's a fire in the office, there's an earthquake, of course, those are extreme calamities. So other than that, if you are a disciplined person, if you're disciplined enough to your routine things, you should give focus to your family too. I lost almost 11 to 12 years of my initial life by not doing this. As I said, one of the CFO mentor is helping me in changing my life, this thing, saying that enough is enough. You need to do only so much. And if you see, later on I realized the efficiency of a person, if he works for 8 hours or 10 hours maximum, and compared if a person working for 18 hours, it will go. If a person comes fresh in the morning and starts work, he can do much faster than slogging for 18 hours, 20 hours. So we need to make our this thing, give priorities to the family, give priorities to the home. At the same time, equal priorities we have to give. At least 60-40, we have to keep the balance. I can't say 50-50 is very ideal, but it's difficult in sometimes, especially quarters like audit closure time or audit tax audit times and things will be difficult. But at least 60-40% we should allocate time